Okay, so we're going to get into foundations. Now, with foundations, I have actually got a foundation selection chart, which I'm actually going to email you all at the end. And this is something that Pauline and I put together years ago. And it's just a guide for you to take along to a consultation or a party. And it really just puts the different foundations into warm, cool, and neutral, and into light, medium, and olive. So it's just, if you're not that familiar with our foundations, because you may not have them all, this is a perfect chart to take along and just be able to say, well, you've got medium skin and it's warm, so these are the types of foundations that suit your skin colour more than anything else. Okay, skin type is different. That's what we're going to go through shortly. Okay, so first of all, I'm going to start with, and the way I normally go through foundations at a consultation or a party situation is I start with the lightest foundation and go through to the most covering. And I say to people just to listen to what I'm going to say and to pick which foundation they want to try at the end. And they're most welcome to try 2 different foundations. In fact, I often get them to try 2 different foundations on each side of their face. So tonight when I do the demo, I'm going to do one on each side of the face as well. Okay, so we're going to start with what I call the most lightest foundation. And that, of course, is the original honour. So it is the sheer tint. The sheer tint. Okay, this has been around for a long, long time. We have light, medium, and dark. Pretty much you could wear any colour because they're that sheer. When they first came out, we only had dark and we all wore it, not knowing that we had options to wear other colours. But since then they brought out light and medium. I recommend this for teenage girls who are going to, starting to wear just a little bit of something and they want to wear it to school, and it's not going to be shown that they're going to be wearing a foundation at school, but it's also their sun protection. Because it's SPF 15. And so it's just giving them the protection, but they're just starting to get used to wearing a type of foundation, which just gives them just a little bit of colour, but not really obviously so. Also recommend it for people who play sport, don't like to wear foundation, but just also want to have a bit of SPF in their foundation, or just while they're out during the day. The next step would be our Beauty Veil. Now, this foundation has been around since I first started 31 years ago. This was the only foundation we had back then. And they used to call it the last step of skincare and the first step of colour. So it's that sheer. It's definitely more in the warm and cool side of things. So, in fact, this is probably the foundation that has definitely got more a warm and cool side to it. There's definitely more of a pink tint and a golden tint to these foundations. Cool Rochelle is definitely a cool colour. It doesn't look good on a person who's actually a warm or even a neutral, but it looks very good on a person who's cool. This does not have an SPF in it, and obviously some people are allergic to sun protection factors, so if you've got a person like that, then this is a great foundation for them, because these days most foundations are coming out with a sun protection factor in them. Once again, it's quite sheer. It gives a beautiful dewy look, quite moisturising type of foundation, yes, I think I haven't used it for a long time. I have to say it's not the one I sell the most of, but I still have a lot of loyal customers to it who have been with me for a long time. So I don't know, Maureen, whether you have people that still use this.
I do, but the thing about Beauty Veil, Kath, is that you almost should put a powder on with it, otherwise it disappears.
Yeah.
Not mattifying like a lot of our other foundations.
No. And when you think about the technology of this foundation, it is over 30 years old, so it is definitely was more seen to be a slightly more of a skincare type product back then, because it's very natural. So
when I joined Kathy 45 years ago, but in a bottle, in a little bottle.
Oh yes, yeah. So you'll get the people who want something very natural. That, this is a good one for that. But yeah, personally, I think we've got better foundations than that now. I'd say the next one would be BB cream. I'm actually really loving BB cream again at this time of year. When they first brought this out, I absolutely adored it. And then, of course, they brought Flawless Hair out, so then I moved on. But I've just gone back to this just for a change. I love the BB cream. It does still give a nice coverage, and I like the thickness of it, and I like the dewiness of it. I've got a dry skin type, which is probably why I like the BB cream. And the BB cream just corrects some colour, like if you've got sort of high colour or yellowness to your skin or something like that, it does help correct that cream, that colour. So the BB cream is light, medium, and medium, because when they first brought it out, light was too light and medium was quite dark. And so what happened was I had to kind of think of something to bring out in between, which is why it's called light/medium. And unfortunately, dark is now gone because it was actually quite dark. So when you'll see the foundation chart, you'll see that we've put medium into more of the olivey skin type person. Did we just ask a question there?
Yes, she wants to know if it's deleted, but they're not deleted.
No, it's the it's the matte, mineralized matte that's been deleted, not the BB cream. And then I would say next would be the mineralized foundations for coverage, because these foundations are ones that you can layer. So you can either have a very light foundation with this, a light coverage, or just basically the more you put on, the more coverage you've got. So that's the mineralized powder. I have to say that these are sort of my go-to ones. I use them mostly for weddings, sometimes on top of flawless foundation, or sometimes just instead of. But I love this sort of finish of them. If you look at the sort of a person's skin once they've got it on, it's definitely got this beautiful sort of glow about it. And that's what I really love about the mineral foundations. Mineral foundations were invented originally for people who had cosmetic surgery. And what would happen was they needed something that was very, very natural, with the least amount of additives to it. So the very first mineral powders that came out on the market were loose powders, very messy to use. You know, they used to come in a little bottle, and people used to use them with a kabuki brush, and they used to flick powder everywhere and used to waste a lot. And then they slowly sort of became a bit more refined into something like a pressed powder, which is what we use now, and what a lot of other companies have gone to. So much easier to use. You could use this either with this brush here, or you could use it with a kabuki brush, which is a shorter, fatter one, or I personally always use it with a sponge. I just find it so much easier just to quickly put on. I also call it my lazy person's foundation, because it's the fastest one to put on and the one that you can least go wrong with. So if you've got a person that says they never wear foundation, this is what I'd definitely recommend to them. Then the next one would be, I'd say I'd probably have to, it's a bit of a toss-up now, actually. I need your opinion on this one. Whether it's between Flawless Air and Cover Rich. Possibly.
Cover Rich is thicker. So
yeah, Flawless Air is lighter. I say they probably give about the same amount of coverage. This feels more lighter on the skin. Still gives a good coverage, and great colour selection in it, and great technology. And I use it in a number of ways. I either use it with the brush that it's designed for, where it goes into the well of the brush and you sweep it over the face. I will be doing a little demo soon. Or you can use it just simply with a foundation brush and just brush it on like that. Or I've actually sometimes just used it with my fingers, and it's gone on quite nicely, even just with my fingers. And of course, the only thing about this is you lose a lot of foundation in here. It sort of really disappears, and it's very hard to clean. So that's why I sort of started using just either this or my fingers, and goes a long way. Okay, and then of course we've got a beautiful Cover Rich, which if you've got a slightly normal to drier skin type, then you'll love the Cover Rich, because it gives a nice moist feel to the skin and gives a nice coverage at the same time. Okay, so I'm just going to do a couple of little demos on the different foundation styles. So I'm going to do two different halves of my face, like I encourage my guests to do. And while I'm doing it, I'm just going to talk a little bit about unders and overs, because when you're selling a foundation, there's a lot of opportunity to sell things that go under a foundation and on top of a foundation. So you've got, for example, underneath, you've got your concealer, which is a must. Could be under or over, actually, because there's two ways of using a concealer. Obviously, it's a personal preference. Sometimes, if it's just under here, sometimes you just whack it on first and then foundation on top. If it's more to conceal different blemishes and things like that, then it's better to actually be used on top of a foundation. But once again, it's very much a personal preference. The second under or over would be, this would be an over. I think it looks better over, as the instant wrinkle line filler. And that's just something that just gets patted into any extra lines, and it just sort of has little spheres that sort of puff up and then reduce and bounce back the light, so it reduces the appearance of any fine lines or pores. Really good for around the mouth, really good for these fine lines around here or around here. It's a sort of an optical illusion. It's not permanent, unfortunately, but it's a really good product, that one there. Another under or over is the face primer and the DD cream, which Pauline O'Leary spoke about. These three products are all primer type products. They have different sort of uses. This one here is to give more of a dewy luminous to the skin. This one here, the DD cream, it's very similar, but it's more correcting too for the colour. It's thicker, and it's probably got a little bit more of a correction, as opposed to this as being pure just dewiness to the skin. And the face primer is one that's designed to absorb any excess oils from the skin, so it's more a mattifier, and it's designed more to keep your makeup on for a longer period of time, whereas these are not necessarily for that reason. So, depending on what look you're wanting is the different things that would go with your foundation. So Pauline covered those in her talk, so you may want to refer back to Pauline's Zoom meeting on those ones. So what I think I'll do tonight, there's a couple of more overs here. Of course, you've got your brightening powder. You've also got translucent powder, which, is up in my bedroom. And you've also got your bronzing powder, which the mattifying one now, which goes over the top. Okay, so don't just sell the foundation, sell what goes underneath the foundation and sell what goes on top of the foundation, because at the end of the day, it's the finished look that people are wanting. So, you need to actually do the overs and unders. And talking about overs and unders, it's a selling technique that McDonald's perfected with, would you like fries with that? Every time you went into a McDonald's, what do you call it, the queue that you go into, the drive-through. So it's something that it's just a little bit of a technique when selling, because why just sell the foundation? Because they won't get the best benefits from it or the best look from it if you don't sell what goes underneath it and what goes on top of it. Okay, and unless you suggest that to people, they don't actually even think about it. It's a bit like if someone asks for a moisturizer, then you should always ask, well, do you need a toner or a cleanser to go with that? Because it's a set. They're designed to balance each other. So always just try and think to yourself, what goes with this product that this person's asking me about. And don't be afraid to just suggest them. You'll be surprised at how many times I go, oh, I never thought about that. Or yes, actually, I do need that. Or what does that do? So just something to bear in mind is what we call unders and overs. Just practice it, just to see, just in the next week, every time someone asks you for something, just have a little think to yourself, now what would go under that and what would go over that? Okay, and just challenge yourself and see how many extra sales you can get just from using that technique. Okay, so
Julie was saying today that because Marilyn Carson did an amazing thing on unders and overs, and she was saying that if you suggest 3 things, they usually take 2 of the 3.
Yeah.
So that's interesting.
Purely a technique. That's a proven technique, McDonald's proved. You always take pros with that, don't you? And also, you might notice that the company in the brochure they try and do a bit of that for you. And in fact, I noticed that there's one particular thing in here. When I was doing my party yesterday, I actually hadn't actually really noticed it, but it was if you bought the lip brush, the lip liner, and the lipstick and the gloss to go over the top. Did anyone notice that special?
Yes. Yeah.
Might be in the April one, but I thought that's a typical case of overs and unders.
The March case.
Yeah.
March.
Yeah. So that is a typical case of overs and unders. If someone asks for a lipstick, you say, well, would you like a lip pencil to go under that and a gloss to go on top? So, sometimes the company make it easier for us to do that. So first of all, for my unders, I'm going to use a concealer because the concealer is quite essential. So I'm going to just brush that underneath my eye here. Down into a V. And then I just use the warmth of my finger to blend that. I know this is probably a little bit not the best lighting. And around the side of your nose is the other place for concealer. And you can always use it just under here as well. Okay. I'm just going to do that on one side just so if you can see any difference on it. Okay, and on this side of my face, I'm going to use the Flawless foundation, and beige is my colour at this time of year. So you've got to give this one a shake first. They do get a little bit messy around the top of the bottles, which is a bit of a nuisance, but just if you just be careful the way you take that out, and just apply it to the back of your hand, a couple of drops. And I'm just going to use this foundation brush just to show you how to use it with this one, because I do find another one absorbs so much of it. Okay. So starting from the centre of your face with the foundation and working outwards. Okay, and the reason why you do that is because your skin generally doesn't need a lot of foundation around here, and so it should be concentrated in the centre of your face. I love the smell of Flawless foundation. It reminds me of baby powder. Does anyone else find that?
No.
That's what it reminds me of, baby powder. It does go a long way when you use it with a different type of brush. I mean, this one is a beautiful brush to use because I love the technique of this, but I guess I just find it uses a lot of product. Okay, so that's the Flawless foundation on this side, and beige. I'm just going to blend it out with the warmth of my fingers now, just around the jawline. And I'm going to compare it with my other couple of favourites, which is the DD cream with the BB cream on top. So DD cream, a little bit onto my back of my hand. It's actually quite an orange, it's very warm DD cream. Does anyone find it too warm for their skin type, those of you who are quite cool? Maureen or Laura, do you find it too warm? You have?
Yes, but what I find is it settles.
Right.
It looks orangey and then it settles. Do you think that's true, Laura?
I can't use it. It's too shiny, too rich for my skin.
Is it too orange for your skin too, Laura?
Yeah. So it doesn't seem to. I've seen it self-correct on other people, but it just doesn't go. It stays orange on me.
Yeah, I do. I have seen it happen before, and I just wanted to get your opinion to see whether that was something that was sort of a bit of a problem. But I'm a warm, so I can take this product, and that's probably why I love it so much.
I use it as well.
You do, Pauline?
Yeah, I do. As a primer.
Right. Yeah. And it does go too orange on you?
I don't think so, but maybe.
I use it.
Tell me.
I use it every day. I absolutely love it.
You're a warm.
I'm a warm too.
Aren't you, Laura?
I'm a warm, but I just love it with my dry skin.
Yes.
So nice.
Yeah, that's what I love about it too, Vicky. I love that the texture of it, because when you have got a dry skin, look at that dewiness that it gives you. I mean, compared to Flawless is more matte looking than this.
Yeah.
Can you see that?
It's too much lighter though, what you put on, isn't it?
Yeah, well, that's true. So now I'm going to put I'm going to put the light medium BB cream on this side. And I love the combination of the two. Ever since they were both released, the combination of the two is what I really love, because I just feel the two, the BB and the DD, are both, like, one's daily defense and one's correcting. I think they balance each other very well. So, and I just love that sort of slight shine to my skin.
It does give it. You can see, Kathy, there's a shine to that side of your face.
Yeah, compared to that one.
But Flawless would be wonderful for going out at night.
Yeah, definitely. And for weddings, it's very good for weddings because it lasts a lot longer.
Yeah.
So so those are the two different looks, and I always get people to try two different looks on their face, because funnily enough, they'll choose one of them. But if you put one of them on and they didn't like it, they might just say, "Oh, no, I really don't really like it." But if you put two on them, they always go, "Oh yeah, I like this one better." So that's quite an interesting way of actually selling it as well, because they sort of choose one out of the two. Now I'm just going to show you a little bit of the powder on top, the mineral powder. And I will put it on top of the Flawless foundation, because if you want a really good lasting coverage for a wedding or for a big night out or whatever, then the Flawless, the mineral foundation on top of the Flawless gives a really good, it sets it really well. So I'm a sand probably at this time of year, so I'm just going to use it with the big powder brush. So I'm using it as a powder, not as a foundation. Okay, so but it is just probably a bit stronger than a normal translucent powder. Also, it probably has just a little bit more color in it than a translucent powder. Obviously, translucent is designed to be completely translucent, but I just find this just sets it just a little bit more. So don't be afraid when you are trying foundations with people to try all sorts of things on them at once. You know, it gives them lots of options, but just do them one at a time and get them to look at it, compare both sides before you add the next layer. So that's the Flawless foundation. Oh, sorry, it's the mineralized over the Flawless. And on this side, I'm going to use something else that I've only just kind of got into using a little bit after watching a few YouTube videos. And I kind of like the brightening powder. Okay, so this is the brightening powder here. I'm just going to tap a little bit into my hand so that it goes through the brush evenly, because if you put it straight onto your face from there, it was just going to go splodge. But it gives a beautiful, almost like a very pearly look to the skin. So I'm going to use it on this side. So one side's definitely quite matte with the Flawless and the mineral powder, and this one's going to be the dewy, shimmery sort of side to the skin. So two totally different looks. So can you see they look different on there?
Yes.
Yeah. So this is given. You can just use this purely up here as a highlighter. You could just use it along here as a highlighter. I've just used it all over more just to give a real pearly look to the skin, and that one is definitely more matte. Okay. So we've got lots of different products that you can promote there. And then I'm going to finish off with my favourite that I am selling a lot of at the moment. And they are these lip intensive treatment creams. Who's been using these?
Yes.
Claire. These are my favourite. And I don't just sell one to a person. I tell everybody that they need one for when they go for a walk in their pocket, one for beside their bed before they go to sleep. You know, the plain one for, you know, that this is just purely a lip treatment. It's solid Nutri-Rich oil. So it's so good for your lips. So that's the one that you need to have beside your bed. Since they brought out these ones with a little bit of colour in them, even better if you are going for a walk, then you've also got, looks like you've got a little bit of lipstick on, but it's treating in your lips at the same time. And I know I was talking to Maureen about this morning, and she says she puts a lip pencil underneath just to give it even more colour. So so these at the moment are my faves, and especially at the hot offer at the moment of $11, I think it's $11.90. I think you should be selling at least the plain one and a tinted one to everybody. Quite a lot of colour in them. This is my apricot one. And I tried this at a party yesterday, or on Saturday, and everybody bought both colours, which surprised me, because one's more of a warm, one's more of a cool, but they're actually the kind of colours that everyone can wear. So so that was a bonus. They all loved it. Yeah, what happens is you get your favourites, and that's what you recommend, and that's pretty much what you sell. Isn't it? Like, Vicky, what's your favourite?
Mine was anti-age, so I was a little bit upset. I'm still working my way through, trying to transition onto Flawless Air, but I just need the DD cream with it.
With the Flawless Air.
Yeah, but I haven't put DD and BB together, so that was interesting that you did that. But I tell you what I use every day, which is the Sheer Perfection powder, because with my dry skin, I like how light it is. You know, it's such a light powder.
Yes.
Where when I used to use the mineral powder, it was a bit heavy for my dry skin.
Yes. With the mineral powder, the sheer powder, I've only just taken it up to start using it myself, because I've never really used a powder thinking that because I had dry skin, I didn't really want a powder, but a powder definitely makes your makeup last a lot longer.
I just love Flawless. Since they brought it out, I just haven't been able to use anything else.
And what colour do you use, Maureen?
I use beige, and before that, I was using BB cream a lot. I went off NTAs for some reason, and I started just using BB cream. I found I just loved it. But now I'm quite obsessive and addictive, and so I'm obsessed with Flawless. I really, if anyone says they don't like it, I almost feel like crying, because how could they not like it?
And what about you, Laura?
Summertime, I'm a mineral powder compact girl. I just use mineral powder. It goes on easy in my skin. I like that matte. I don't like a shiny skin. Yep. So I use mineral powder. I don't, or the BB cream I can use because that's kind of mattifying on my skin. But Cover Rich I have to use in the winter because my skin needs a bit of moisturizing because it's a bit dry.
Right. And what about you, Pauline? Are you still there?
I'm Flawless.
You're Flawless as well. And what colour?
I actually do a little bit of a mixture between beige and cream, but only because I like to do a bronzing powder over the top.
Right. Yeah.